Hello and welcome to this short webinar called Analyzing Emotions, Truly Understanding Your Customers. My name is Arminda Almeida. I am the Manager Director of the Institute of Tourism and Sustainable Economic Development at the University of Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. How do tourists make decisions? What role do emotions play in this process? To what extent are these processes unconscious and cannot be reflected in other reports? This webinar will provide you with an introduction to some of the most basic methods in the emerging field of neuromarketing. You will learn about the methods employed and what they mean. The module will give you an overview of the current and future uses of neuromarketing in the tourism industry. This presentation will begin by trying to understand how consumers make their decisions, what are the factors that influence their purchasing behavior, and then focus on the concept of emotions. Next, we will study the concept of neuromarketing and how it can help us understand consumer behavior, ending by mentioning some of its main techniques and their practical applications in marketing. In order to improve the consumer experience and design better strategies that make the most of your marketing investment, it is necessary to understand their behavior, understand how consumers make their decisions and what factors influence them. Do you really know how consumers decide? Do traditional research techniques allow us to fully understand their behavior? When consumers are going to make a purchasing decisions, the factors that affect them are different. On the one hand, there are forces external to the individual, such as social influences, family, reference groups, and on the other hand, there are also the internal factors of the individual themselves, their personality, their socio-demographic characteristics, their lifestyle. Then there are the different stimuli to which they are subjected, advertisement, message. However, not all consumers perceive the same stimuli, nor do they do so in the same way. Perceiving stimuli involve exposure, reception, and assimilation of information. And different factors come into play, such as attention, memory. One does not perceive all the stimuli that arrive, but rather captures the information selectively. Most of the stimuli to which that one is exposed and discarded if they are not interesting, and others are perceived even unconsciously. So, when we perceive a stimulus, a series of cognitive processes occur, which can be conscious or unconscious, and which can even generate emotional processes, and it has been shown that emotions also plays a fundamental role in decision making. Neuroscientific Antonio Damasio even states that the human is a combination of reason and emotion. In the decision-making processes, emotions is not subsidiary to reason. Emotion and reason go together. To better understand consumer behavior, we must understand the elements behind it, and those are found in the black box that is the consumer brain. What's inside the brain of consumer? The brain is the key to most consumer decisions. All parts of the brain interact with each other to respond to external stimuli and to influence emotional experience and the way we respond to different emotional stimuli. But what is emotion? It seems easy. It seems that we all know what emotions are until they ask us to try to define it. Also, There have been numerous attempts to define what emotion is. Among researchers, there has not been a consensus on what emotion really is. What is clear is that it's not a simple phenomenon that can be observed easily. However, emotions, what researchers do seem to agree on is that emotions include three different parts: subjective experience, an expressed component, and physiological arousal. Emotions are universal and innate in our species. No time of learning is necessary for a person to experience and express, for example, on her face, the emotion that he or she is experiencing. The same does not happen with how the person experiences that emotion. This experience is subjective. Each person experiences emotions in a peculiar way, and it can be very different from how another person experiences them. Even the same person can experience the same emotions in very different ways. Let's look at fear. We might think that it is an emotion that is impression to us, but the reality is that many people pay money to go to the cinema and experience that emotion. The key is how we subjectively value the emotion. It is the interpretation that gives rise to the subjective experience of each emotion. The other element is the physiological changes that occur when we have an emotion. For example, that occur hair beats harder, that we turn red, that our hands sweeps, that our hair stand up. In emotional situations, the body acts. And the third element is the action tendency or expressive component, which includes actions such as aggression, avoidance, curiosity, of the adoption of a certain body posture, which suggests a specific type of coping response. Face it with an advertisement, for example, it could be the purchase of the product, the recommendation, the use of a website, or, for example, the number of clicks in the digital world. It is not my intention to know how the brain works, not to fully understand what emotion is. I only want you to know the complexity of what we are dealing with. But the question remains the same. How do tourists really make decisions, and how do we investigate it? Are our purchasing decisions rational or emotional, or even do we make decisions unconsciously? Are traditional research methods capable of shedding light on consumer decision-making process? If I ask you, what have you seen from this ad? It is difficult to answer, difficult for hidden reasons, difficult to express. How do we explain it? Current studies show us that 95% of our decisions are made at a subconscious level. This means that there are two ways of understanding the consumer. The consumer is understood from the conscious aspect or from the not conscious aspect. If I want to know the consumer from the conscious aspect, then I can do traditional research based on surveys, focus groups, ethnographic studies. But this does not guarantee that you will really be successful, because we are missing knowing the most important aspect of the consumer, that is the not conscious aspect. Traditional research methods are not sufficient when trying to explain consumer behavior. This may be because these techniques depend on consumers' ability to describe how they feel when exposed to certain stimuli. or on the individual's tendency to give socially acceptable responses. Thus, neuromarketing appears to better explain that not conscious part of consumer behavior. Neuromarketing is defined as the application of neuroscientific techniques to study the brain processes of consumers, to better understand their behavior and thus develop better marketing strategies. Neuromarketing allows us to access a higher level of knowledge about consumers' behavior. It allows us to access that black box that we said is the consumer's brain. It allows us to understand their emotions and unconscious desires that trigger the purchase decisions. Neuromarketing research techniques fall into two general classes: tools that measure the brain reactions to a given stimulus, neuroimaging techniques, and tools that measure the body's reactions, biometric techniques. Neuroimaging tools based on brain responses are more complex and more precise tools than body measures. But they also require a greater effort on the part of researchers and involve a higher cost. The three main techniques are the electroencephalogram, functional magnetic resonance imaging, and magnetoencephalography. The main neuromarketing measures based on body reactions are analysis tools for facial expressions, eye tracking, electrodermal activity, breathing and heart rate, among others. These techniques can be used to make decisions regarding advertising, the product, the price, the brand, the e-commerce, among others. Regarding the techniques that measures the body's reactions to certain stimuli, the analysis of facial expressions is one of the most used in marketing. Facial expression analysis uses people's faces as a window into their emotional processes. Our face is capable of reflecting endless internal emotions. Thus, this tool, through the analysis of the micro-movements that occur in the muscle of the face, is capable of identifying what our emotions are when we are subjected to a certain stimulus. This tool allows us to recognize the universal emotions according to Edman: anger, content, disgust, enjoyment, fear, sadness, and surprise. In the example, we can see how the participant is being subjected to a stimulus. In this case, it's an advertisement spot about the destination Gran Canaria. And through a webcam, her facial expressions are being recorded, which are being analyzed by facial expression recognition software. It allows us to understand whether or not there is an emotion and what specific emotion is produced at each moment. This technique can be used in marketing with different objectives. For example, the destination or the tourist destination Hawaii partnered with Expedia Group Media to develop a digital marketing campaign to help improve its competitiveness. On its website, the destination offered video content about the different attractions of the Hawaii destination. Tourists who went to the web to find out about their travel destination were asked to give access to their webcam. As the videos played, software analyzes facial expressions, reactions to the content, identifying which footage evoked the most positive reaction from the viewer. With the information obtained, a personalized travel package was provided. Analysis of facial expressions has also been used to evaluate the effectiveness of advertising. Coca-Cola, Nestlé, and Unilever are just some of the companies that have used this technology in the market research with this objective. For example, Unilever, a multinational consumer goods company, has used facial coding in its market research. They have analyzed consumer facial expressions to evaluate the effectiveness of their ads. Unilever has been working with a marketing research company that uses the webcams of a global panel of consumers to track their facial expression in response to ads. Other tools that measure the body reactions to certain stimuli that are often used in combination with facial expression analysis are electrodermal activity, that is, skin perspiration that is measured by electrodes placed on the fingers, and body temperature using body temperature sensors. The changes that occur could indicate changes in emotional states. In addition, we can measure the breathing rate and heart rate. This consists of measuring the speed of the heartbeat and the speed on the breathing through sensor places on the chest or through a heart rate monitor on the finger. It has been found that when attentions increase, the heartbeat slows down. Rapid deep breathing is related to energy and excitement, and shallow breathing can demonstrate concentration, tense anticipation, or panic and fear. This can provide a useful indication of physical arousal. It is common for these techniques to be used in combination because this increases the richness of the information, and it is also common for them to be combined with traditional research techniques. Thus, a recent study combined the measuring of temperature, heart rate, and electrodermal activity response to understand whether video or audio generated a greater emotional impact. For example, in the context of environmental advertising, what type of method should we use? A game approach, for example, if you buy rechargeable batteries, you will contribute to the improvement of the environment, or on the contrary, a loose approach. If you don't buy rechargeable batteries, many adult trees will die. How do consumers process and react emotionally to messages that seek to achieve environmentally responsible behavior? What method should we use? Recent research using tools such as analysis of facial expressions, galvanic skin response, and heart rate has shown that measures designed with a game focus are more effective than those measures, and they promote greater emotional intensity and excitement and a deceleration of the heart rate, significant with greater attentions. That is for my presentation. I hope it has been useful and that these techniques can help you improve the development of your company. See you soon.